Now at 5, a Newton County official pushes back against a state-recommended increase in property assessment rates. Plus, a summer robotics camp is building skills in coding, engineering, and teamwork for kids. And
President Trump talks about whether he'll try to oust the Fed chief. I'm Erica Brown with more on that and the fallout inside the Republican Party over the Epstein files.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Newton County, Missouri assessor is at odds with the state tax commission over the state's request to raise property assessment values. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. County Assessor Cheryl Perkins says she's not signing a letter of understanding asking her office to raise county property tax valuations by 12%. That's the percentage requested by the commission for the county to become compliant with state law, which says assessments have to be within 90 to 110% of market value. Newton County is currently at 77%. Jasper County is having to make a similar adjustment this year, but the Newton County assessor says she's refusing to raise them by that much.
The cost of living is going up, our utilities are going up, our insurances are going up, and we just can't afford another huge increase. I would refuse to do it either way. I would not do it even if I had time to put a 12% on somebody overnight or in one tax year. I won't do it.
Last month, the State Tax Commission voted to withhold 2026 assessment maintenance funds from Newton County, more than $108,000. KOAM has reached out to the Missouri State Tax Commission for comment. We have not yet heard back at this time. Boots hit the ground in Joplin as experts and volunteers at Wildcat Glades began pulling up 2 invasive plants, the Serica and winter creeper. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe signed a new bill into law this week to combat the proliferation of 6 invasive plants in the Show Me State. Local experts say it's a much needed service to protect the native landscape.
So a lot of times, like with the winter creeper, it's sold as a decorative plant and people plant it in their yards. And if it's allowed to grow up trees, it will produce berries that can be carried by birds. And it'll get planted places like this, or it gets carried away in floods. And when the creek level rises, it all ends up dispersing on our banks.
That law takes effect on August 28th. McDonald County High School is hosting a robotics camp for kids in kindergarten through 8th grade. The students start with the basics of coding and building, and as they age up, they get more complex robots. Getting STEM to McDonald County students early is the main intention of the camp. Upper-class McDonald County students volunteer to teach the younger students.
Help out the kids and help them learn the robotics that they would like to learn. And I feel like this is not only a learning experience for the kids, but for us as well.
Later tonight, we're going to speak with the campers about what they learn about robotics. Right now, though, let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at the weather. Chairman Jerome Powell today, but said he has no immediate plans to fire him. Erica Brown has the latest, including reaction from Capitol Hill.
During a White House meeting with the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain, President Trump confirmed CBS News reporting that he discussed firing Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell with Republican lawmakers Tuesday.
I talked about the concept of fire him. I said, what do you think? Almost every one of them said I should.
The president has been hammering Powell for weeks for not lowering interest rates, but said he is not planning to fire him. Federal law says the chair can only be removed for cause, and Trump brought up a renovation project happening at the Fed.
I think it's highly unlikely, unless he has to leave for fraud. I mean, it's possible there's fraud involved with the $2.7 billion renovation.
Here on Capitol Hill, Republican Tom Tillis took to the Senate floor to warn of the fallout if the Fed chairman is removed before his term ends in May.
The consequence of firing a Fed chair just because political people don't agree with that economic decision will be to undermine the credibility of the United States going forward. And I would argue if it happens, you're going to see a pretty immediate response.
President Trump also downplayed the fallout from Republicans who are demanding more transparency regarding the investigation into child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
All it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
But calls for the release of the Epstein files are growing after a Justice Department and FBI review found no evidence of a client list or blackmail of powerful figures.
Bottom line, it needs to come out.
Senate lawmakers are working to hold a final vote tonight on a bill to slash about $9 billion in previously approved funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
In a deal reached yesterday, Republicans agreed to preserve funding for the global AIDS program known as PEPFAR. If the Senate passes the bill as expected, it goes back to the House for another vote there. All right, let's check in now with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney.
Well, temperatures are in the low 90s. Oh, back on down.
It's the time of year when cars get dangerously hot fast. I'm Michael George with safety tips to prevent child hot car deaths and the ongoing fight for federal regulations.
Topping today's Health Watch, what types of exercise are the best ways to fight insomnia? Research published in the British Medical Journal found yoga, tai chi, walking, or jogging all had the biggest benefit to improving sleep quality and reducing insomnia. The study suggests exercise could be an alternative to conventional insomnia treatments like drugs and therapy. Yoga in particular led to nearly 2 extra hours of sleep time. For people with type 2 diabetes and obesity, taking GLP-1 weight loss drugs led to a lower risk of dementia, stroke, and death. The study published by JAMA showed the popular weight loss drugs could have benefits in protecting against neurodegenerative diseases. Elderly patients, women, and obese people got the most benefit from the drugs. A warning from doctors about medical tourism for weight loss surgery. A study published in BMJ Global Health says despite the rise in popularity of weight loss drugs, more Americans are traveling abroad for cheap bariatric and weight reduction surgery, and the industry is largely unregulated, which increases the risks for complications and even death. For 25 years, blind and visually impaired children have competed in the Braille Challenge, a competition highlighting the skills needed to succeed in life. Frankie McGlister has the inspirational story of a young girl who's competed in this year's tournament.
In this 9-year-old's backyard, it's just a Wednesday afternoon.
There's some things I can't do because I can't really see what I'm doing. And then I'm like, uh-oh.
But the fact she can't see doesn't stop her.
I'm the person who never gives up on anything she does.
She put that determination to the test recently in LA. Having qualified and competed in the Global Braille Challenge Finals, a competition so competitive, only 10 students from each grade make it this far.
And they get to compete in spelling, reading comprehension, proofreading, charts and graphs, speed and accuracy.
Braille is a skill she started learning at 6 months.
She was born with something called septo-optic dysplasia.
My optic nerve is really small and my pituitary gland is really small.
Her parents will never forget that diagnosis.
It was really scary, not knowing, what the future was going to bring to her.
Flash forward nearly 9 years, her current provider at M Health Fairview isn't surprised she made it to the world stage.
She's so healthy and living a pretty normal life on hormone replacement therapy. She's just so smart and she's doing great.
Never give up. Keep trying. Persevere.
In a dark world, her future is bright. Frankie McGlister, CBS News, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Well, some words of wisdom there. Officials with the Braille Institute say academic challenges like these are important building blocks for the community. According to the National Federation of the Blind, fewer than 16% of adults with visual disabilities attain a bachelor's degree or higher. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, a federal judge blocks a rule that would have erased medical debt from millions of credit reports.
And thunderstorm chances return tomorrow. I'll have those details coming up. Well, we do have thunderstorm chances, and then the heat moves in right after that. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. Current conditions right now, about 92 in Joplin, but it feels like 99. So today is the first day that we've seen the heat really ramp up in the area. Now we do have winds gusting out of the south up to 25, even pushing up to 30 miles per hour ahead of a front that's coming through late tonight into tomorrow. Now storms aren't going to make it into the region until after 1 a.m. You can see we've got a very low chance for storms by 1 a.m. but by 3, that's when they're going to start to push in, and you can see 7 to 8, 9 a.m. is when most of us are seeing that heavy rainfall. Now we'll have a couple of rounds on Thursday, but so far today we're looking good. Couple of these isolated storms passed by south of I-44 earlier. Now our front is up in Kansas City. Now it's moving in super slowly, and it's actually more of a stationary front right now, so it's not going to make it into our area again until after 1 a.m. Now you can see out in Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, we've got clear sunny skies for most of the afternoon. For most of us, in fact, nothing's really happening. Clouds start to push in by midnight tonight. Now our threat for storms tomorrow is going to be an isolated wind threat, so we're really not expecting any tornadoes or any hail. Maybe could see some heavy downpours of rain leading to flash flooding, but our biggest threat is going to be the wind threat. Now, again, by midnight, still looking clear skies. Winds are dying down, but they're still out of the south. Starting to see those clouds push in until about 3 to 3:30. You can see where the rain is starting to creep in and that front right along it. Now, storms fire up by 8 a.m. Parsons, Caney Independence, Yates Center, Chanute, out in Fort Scott and Nevada. Now these aren't going to be strong, but again, could see that wind threat. And then our front just sits right here, central to northern counties for most of the morning. All the rain dies down there mid-morning to early afternoon because we don't have a lot of surface heating to drive any storms until later in the afternoon. They pick right back up. So our front's still just sitting there, stationary front by 4:30 on Thursday. Couple of these isolated storms popping up. Again, here's another threat for the winds that we could see. Pretty strong wind gusts, 40, 50, even pushing up to 60 miles per hour with some of these storms. Now 8:30, north of Nevada still getting some heavy isolated storms. Now all of that is going to start to push out of the area, but we are still seeing that front slowly pushing south of I-44, though rain out towards the east. Now, once we get past the storms on Thursday, Friday, our temperatures start to spike again into the low to mid 90s with our heat index for nearly everybody hitting about 100. Now, highest is going to be Independence, Fredonia, 105. Could see some heat advisories there. And then Saturday, for everybody, low hundreds, 103 in Joplin, 106 in Pittsburgh, 107 in Independence, Fredonia, and Sedan. So this is where we're most likely going to start to see some of those heat advisories be issued, excessive heat watches, maybe even a warning or so, because anything above 103 heat index is going to be really hot. And actual temperature is 95 on Sunday, even all the way through next week, 94 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 95 Thursday, 97 next Friday. So we've got a couple of hot days. Thursday staying relatively cool because of those storm chances. So not too bad. We got one more cooler day before the heat really just hits us.
And by cooler day, you mean only 90 degrees.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I mean.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up, hot car deaths do claim some young lives every year. Now, one mother who lost her twins is urging action to prevent more tragedies. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a debt forgiveness rule approved by the Biden administration is blocked by a federal judge. The rule, which was issued by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in January, would have removed unpaid medical debt from more than 15 million Americans' credit reports. The federal judge says the rule is being reversed because the CFPB overstepped its authority under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The agency has not announced if it will appeal the decision. A new report suggests many Americans might have limited access to essential healthcare services. The report by GoodRx says 1 in 3 Americans live in a healthcare desert. According to the research, about 81% of U.S. counties are classified as a health desert, and in 60% of counties, people have no access to 2 or more services. The report says people have the least access to pharmacies, with hospitals and trauma centers are not too far behind. A critical reminder in these summer months to never leave a child in a vehicle. A nonprofit that tracks hot car deaths found 5 children died in an 8-day stretch in June, and at least 15 have died so far this year. Michael George has more on stalled federal regulations and one mother who turned heartbreak into advocacy.
I put them in their car seats, kissed them. They were ready to go, happy.
Marissa Rodriguez never thought that July day 6 years ago would be the last time she'd see her 1-year-old twins Luna and Phoenix alive.
Luna had big, beautiful blue eyes, and Phoenix would be so loving.
Rodriguez's husband headed to work with the kids in the car, but never dropped them off at daycare. He realized the fatal mistake at the end of the day. It's a tragedy that keeps repeating itself. 5 children in 4 states died in hot cars over an 8-day period just last month.
Oh, you're hot.
This body cam video from police in Cobb County, Georgia had a better outcome. Officers rescued 2 small children from a 117-degree car.
This is the time of year when these tragedies spike.
Amber Rollins is director of the nonprofit Kids and Car Safety, which pushed for federal legislation mandating NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, issue a rule requiring technology in new vehicles to prevent hot car deaths. The November 2023 deadline has come and gone.
This is a law. It was signed by Congress, and they should be doing this.
In a statement to CBS News, a NHTSA spokesperson said, as part of this complex rulemaking, NHTSA is analyzing more sophisticated technologies to detect and alert parents if a child is in the back seat, as well as assessing the effectiveness of seat occupant detection systems. Some steps parents can take right now to prevent tragedy. Make it a habit to open the back door every time you park. And use visual cues. Take a stuffed animal and put it in the front seat next to you as a reminder that your child is in the back.
Everything that has suns and moons on it represents our beautiful Luna and Phoenix.
Rodriguez has a tree in her backyard dedicated to her twins' memory. She continues to advocate for safety.
Nobody loses by having this technology in their vehicle.
And keeps her baby shoes with her wherever she goes.
Someone told me they were helping me take baby steps forward, and that stuck.
Rodriguez hopes federal regulations race to catch up. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Some car makers have voluntarily implemented this safety technology. Experts say parents should keep vehicles locked in the driveway or garage. Teach your kids to honk the horn or turn on hazards if they get stuck. A final check of the forecast up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, millions of businesses depend on a government system to make sure they're not breaking the law. So why is it failing over and over? The results of a CBS News investigation. Then on KOAM News at 6 tonight, we're going to hear more about why the Newton County Assessor is refusing to comply with a request that she raise assessment rates. Plus, we'll take a closer look at the new Missouri law aimed at getting rid of some invasive plant species. Specifically, we'll look at what plants are talking about. And we're going to introduce the new KOAM sports director. Yeah, the new sports director starts this evening. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. It's been hot. And it's going to get even hotter.
It is. We do have one decent day where we're going to see some thunderstorm chances. That's on Thursday. Non-severe or low-grade severe, but mainly just a wind threat. After that, this weekend, we're getting back into those hot temperatures.
I guess so. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. Let's make it a great evening.